Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/citizenho. Over 150,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player.
Why, hello there.
Willkommen.
Sorry for being away, folks, but
Life
we
got
suck.
in the way?
We're lazy. We're useless. Nobody likes
you were
us.
just in Florida.
Yeah, land of old people.
See, when I went to Florida, we still squeezed in podcast recordings. Bum.
Sorry.
Gosh.
So
Some of us are more devoted to this show than others, apparently.
So we had an interesting flight back from Florida.
Ooh, do tell.
I think it'd be wrong if I posted this picture to our Facebook account.
That picture?
Yeah.
I think it actually will add to the story, most
Okay,
likely.
so social
And I
media.
say this not really knowing the story, by the way.
So I'll tell people the story, and then we'll use this to post on our Facebook when we post our episode this week. Make note, my kind dear. The wives are listening. So, so my flight home, coming back from Florida, walked right through security. We got into like the advanced line, so I didn't have to take my laptop out of the bag. Didn't have to take shoes off. Apparently, that whole I think they have like a Jew detector or anything. Like, not terrorist, go.
Nah, they will just let like random people into the pre-approved line.
Yeah. I mean,
just
she
to
looks
get
a little
people
shifty.
done
I
faster.
don't, but whatever. So we get right through. We get in there. I'm like, Marissa and I, Mrs. Ho and I are like, let's go to the gate, and then each of us will go to the bathroom so we can put our stuff down. Get to the gate, and I notice a very unusual thing. There had to have been close to 25 to 40 wheelchairs waiting to get on our flight.
That many wheelchairs. So you had a cripple convention.
It was like the South Park cripple fight. Well, I'll get to that later.
God.
So as we're doing so they have the pre-boarding, but then they had the pre-boarding. This is the boarding before you board.
What?
Every
the
wheelchair
pre-boarding
went
of
on-
all the people in the wheelchair?
All the
probably
wheelchairs
took
went on
20
first.
minutes.
But they did it we really weren't delayed because of that.
So
So they pre-board everyone, then they pre-board all the wheelchairs, then they start the pre-boarding process, which is, the people that pay for the extra space. And then,
Passengers traveling with small children?
yes,
What about passengers traveling with large children?
they put them in the baggage claim.
Suppose you have a 2-year-old with a pituitary disorder.
Thank you, George Carlin. So, why am I laughing at that? I've heard that 100 times.
Because
So,
it's still funny.
We get on the
Anyway,
plane and
move on.
we pull away from the gate and we start taxiing. Then we're sitting, not doing much for 20 minutes. It's JetBlue, so I'm watching my handy dandy TV. Then the captain came on the airplane, on the thing. Yes, I know who made this better captain.
Yeah.
The guy
I'm
flying
not-
the plane.
Okay, yeah. I'm not going through the whole Carlin
He gets
routine.
on and says, "Folks, we've been advised there's some construction at Kennedy Airport. We're going to be sitting on the ground for at least another 45 minutes."
This is when you're leaving Florida.
We're on taxiing. We're already on the flight. We're already on the plane. We left the gate.
And you're delayed because of construction at Kennedy.
That's what he told us. Then I decided to go online to see what's going on. Apparently, a plane crashed into a flock of birds at Kennedy and had to make an emergency landing.
There was a bird... I heard this news. There was a bird strike, which is the same thing that happened to the Miracle on the Hudson plane.
Yeah.
Is that
That's
a
what
bird got sucked into the jet and...
So we think that's what caused us to be delayed. So because of that,
Possibly.
they decided to not charge us for any of the movies and give us all free movies. So I got to see Birdman, which actually was pretty good.
Interesting.
Wasn't a superhero flick, though.
That's the big story?
No, it gets better.
Okay, wait.
Okay.
Continue.
Oh, I have to go back first.
Fine.
So
Go back.
as we're boarding the plane, this guy sitting in the aisle seat, Mrs. Ho and I are getting in, and his stuff was in the overhead compartment, so I put my jackets on top of his. All of a sudden, this woman comes out. "Whose is this? I need room in the overhead compartment." She starts taking people's stuff out of the overhead compartment. And she moved our jackets.
Crazy old people?
She wasn't even that old. Middle age, maybe 50s, 60s, something like that.
No, just crazy people.
Crazy. And people were getting nasty at her because you don't take people's stuff out without their permission. The guy was nice and just put it under his seat, but I wouldn't have done that. But then she moved our coats, and the flight attendant came by and fixed everything. But just wanted to add that part out because she's a cunt.
Okay,
So,
now moving on.
Moving right along. We're flying. Sorry.
Okay, it's not there's nothing visual about the podcast. You don't
Damn
need
it.
to have your arms out
Okay,
like
take the
wings.
picture of me going like this. Ah, don't. We're being photographed right now so you can see what we look like.
Maybe.
We'll have you vote who's sexier, me or Kev.
Ooh.
So we get on the ground and we taxi over. We're getting on. Then we get to the gate. We're sitting there waiting for the door to open. 10, 15 minutes. Apparently they're having trouble with the jet bridge getting it connected to the gate, the plane. Finally get that worked out. And the flight attendant comes. Those who require assistance, please stay in your seat till everyone else has left the plane.
Did they actually follow those directions?
Most of the people did, except for
Okay.
this one old couple. They got up and are moving slow as hell. I mean, we're already, at this point, we're probably about an hour and a half late. And people behind us are screaming at them, sit down, we have flights to catch, sit down. And like, this guy just would not budge. He kept moving, and the flight attendant couldn't tell them not to go. So as we're getting off the plane, this is the best part. The guy behind me just looks at him and goes, "You are a selfish old man," and then walks past him.
Okay, then.
No. That was,
Selfish, crazy old people.
yes.
Gotta love Florida.
Yeah, overall, we had a good time. Spring training was cool. Like, if you want to describe Steinbrenner Field, just take Yankee Stadium, make parking about a third of the price, remove the entire upper deck, and replace it with making it look like the old Yankee Stadium.
Okay.
And much nicer staff.
Actually, the staff at the new Yankee Stadium, anyway, I found to be generally pretty pleasant.
I mean,
The old Yankee Stadium, they were cranky.
the ushers wouldn't even take tips here.
Okay, then.
Because my father, in his infinite wisdom, for those of you who don't know, my father walks with a cane, so he decided to get handicap seating so he wouldn't have to go up or down stairs. Little did he know that wheelchair seating requires a wheelchair. So we had 3 seats at an empty spot. So Mrs. Ho and I were wandering around the stadium getting free seats anywhere we could. We wound up at the second row behind the dugout at one point, though.
Like the old days at Shea.
Yeah.
Wandering around finding whatever seats you can get into that they don't kick you out of.
The good old days.
Yeah, those were fun times.
Now you have to have a mortgage on your seats to get good seats.
No, now you just have to actually have a ticket to be able to get into your seats.
What if it's golden?
They check things now.
Bastards.
Ah.
Anything exciting happened up here while we were in the land of old people?
Nah, same old, same old. We had Hillary's email controversy, or controversy.
For those who don't know, Hillary is the
Hillary
other Mrs.
Clinton.
King.
Well, there's that too, but I mean Hillary Clinton.
Oh. Oops.
Yeah, that was kind of while you were away. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't even understand how this is a controversy because her emails can't be archived. They're trying to make a big deal out of nothing.
Well, no, there's I see some issue with it. I think they're making a bigger deal out of it than it needs to be. But so the deal is that because she didn't want to have to carry around 2 mobile devices while she was Secretary of State, she decided that she would just carry 1 device, and the Department of State apparently told her that it would be okay for her to use her personal email address.
As long as she CC'd a government email address when she sent that email.
Okay. And that personal email address was run off of an email server basically in her house in Chappaqua, I think.
Oh, so it's
And
like
apparently it was
Hillary.com?
something like set up for like bills. I don't know if it's something left over from when Bill was president, which would be kind of scary because security is a lot better nowadays. Or if it's something that his post-presidential office had
Probably
set up.
more like that.
That
when
would be
Bill
my
was
guess.
president, I mean, email was barely being used towards...
No, by the end of his presidency, it was being used
Yeah.
a lot. So, but it was a server, basically, as far as I know, in their house in Chappaqua, and that's what all her State Department email was going through. But yeah, I'd heard something about she CC anything that was business related. She CC'd State
because what
Department
happens
people
is
on.
every email to a U.S. government employee is archived automatically, so they have a record of it.
But okay, so let's say even if she is CCing a State Department employee on every email, that still means that emails are being sent out from a totally independent, essentially unsecured server about potentially major security information.
In theory, if people really don't know about it, it probably wasn't intercepted, and they're probably making a bigger deal about it than it is. They would associate like a Gmail or Yahoo account, probably not like BubbaClinton.com.
Yeah. No, well, I think his might, for all we know, his might be Slick Willy at Clinton.com, but
let's send an email to that, see if we get a reply. Everyone,
Slick Willy wiggles out of another one.
Yep.
But so yeah, I mean, just that theory is kind of stupid. I'm surprised they allowed it. But as far as her business
they're just trying to discredit her
emails,
from a White House run. That's basically what it comes down to.
I mean, her work-related emails, we can't, we don't know if she could have deleted something important and we'll never know about it. That's a little bit, that's going a little bit too far. But, yeah, there was a risk. I'm surprised they allowed it, but they allowed it. Oh. So, yeah, I mean, they're trying to discredit her at a run for the White House, but also, I don't know if you saw any of the press conference that she gave from the UN about it. She was kind of like, yeah, I really don't give a shit.
Good for her.
You know what, though? While for the purposes of her base, that's all well and good, because they don't give a shit either. But for the people in the center who are going to be the swing votes that are going to make the difference, yeah, they're going to care about that.
So, speaking of email, we actually did get another email to our Gmail address, citizenhopepod.
Almost a good segue. Almost.
That worked.
Yeah, it kind of worked.
So this one is non-kosher pot. Okay, guys.
Non-kosher pot now.
Since you read my last email on the air, but prefaced it by the other failed email regarding pot and kosher. And no, unlike the other guy, I am not, with a capital N in the middle of a sentence, going to relate it to pot with a capital P in the middle of a sentence, being kosher. That one's allowed to have a capital K. Just a bit of info in case you
pot
didn't already know this.
A proper name? Sure.
The truth is, marijuana is supposedly very medicinal, with a capital V and a capital M, but with a capital N, not if you cook it. If you heat...
Okay, now people are just doing bad grammar on purpose.
Yes. If you heat, burn, or cook the pot, it releases all hallucinatory effects. But if you just eat it in a salad or blend it in a shake, it's not hallucinatory. It's purely medicinal. Just FYI, the bot guy.
So in other words, smoking it is what releases the...
Smoking fucks you up. Eating it just makes it healthy.
Smoking or cooking it fucks you up. Eating it raw is purely medicinal.
So Doug was right. It works as oregano.
Yeah. Better be. I paid $20 for it. Mm-hmm. Or $200 or whatever the hell it was.
So do we want to stay political or get into the fun parts yet? Want to do boring first, fun later?
I don't know. I kind of like the alternating thing. Unless the two political things can be linked together.
Secretary of State. Oh, this can link together.
Oh.
I got it. So Hillary Clinton was the Secretary of State, which is now John Kerry. John Kerry is negotiating a peace treaty in Iran, while Benjamin Netanyahu was in the U.S. telling him not to negotiate that peace treaty. And Netanyahu was just reelected.
6 degrees of political characters.
Did it work?
Kinda, sorta.
Damn it.
It was a piss-poor segue, but...
Yeah.
So, Netanyahu got reelected, which is...
Well, it's not really... You don't elect him. The Israeli elections are a little weird.
Oh, yeah, okay. His party got reelected.
And then as the head of the party...
As the head of the party, he is therefore tapped to try and create a coalition government within the parliament there, or the Knesset.
Parliamentary procedure.
Yeah, the thing that's interesting about this is that all the polls that they took beforehand had his party a little bit behind, or being very close to even with the other party, and he ended up actually winning by about 6 seats. I think he ended up with like at least 6 seats more than he thought he was going to have.
Dimple Chads?
No, I don't know about Dimple Chads, but they actually kind of seem to know how to use technology over there and actually have it work.
Yeah, that amazes me. Voting technology is some of the worst shit in this country. Put a fucking iPad in there. As much as I hate Apple, would you like this person? Click, then click next. Click. Make it fucking easy. We have these weird ass touch screens that are like you have to click this little box next to the name, and like she forgets how to do it every time, so I have to remind her how to do it.
That's okay. You know what New York is?
It's still the clickers, right?
No, they got rid of those. New York is now, they basically give you a Scantron. And you go behind, basically, they have desks with like cardboard on it. You go basically in a protected desk, you mark up your Scantron to select your candidates with a pen or pencil, and then they basically scan it in some machine, and then your vote is supposedly tabulated.
I think they should introduce internet voting.
The security issues with that would be...
I know, well, if they have the
horrific.
right company. As long as they don't have the company that did the healthcare website do it, I think we're okay.
The problem is almost anything the government does, I feel like somehow something's going to get fucked up with it.
Because, like...
I don't mind the idea. I mean, and also, there's just the...
I think you'd have... If you could just do it from your desk while you're at work, it'll make...
Yeah, but the
There's
ceremony...
so much apathy in this country, it probably wouldn't matter anyway.
True, too. And honestly, I think it would probably... People would probably... it would be even more of an excuse to not vote.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm busy working. And I think there's the ceremony of going to the polls to actually vote, and it makes you feel like you're actually doing you're actually participating.
I don't think it should be a pure electric tally. I think like you should record in a vote, it updates the database, and then it does a printout somewhere saying this was an actual vote.
Yeah.
That way they have a
I'm
paper
not sure,
trail.
after in New York State, after they scan the Scantron,
I'm sure they
I'm not
keep
sure
them.
what they do with the paper. I
They
think
probably
they
keep
it.
them till the election's certified.
Yeah, I think that's what they do. They keep them until the election's certified, and then they probably shred them. But yeah, no. What Netanyahu did was kind of weird. He in the last day or so before the election, he started going ultra right wing. You know, he made some comment that people are calling it out like he's saying he's no longer in favor of any kind of two-state solution, and I think they're blowing it out of proportion to a degree.
Well, I think he was also trying to go very against the other guy who was all at peace with the Palestinians.
Yeah, but he also, I mean, what he was really saying is that he didn't see a two-state solution within the current climate. But now people see that, see him trying to explain that away as him kind of backpedaling. But they also posted all kinds of comments on social media about you have to get out to vote. People are bussing in Arabs from all over the place to vote for the other party. So, and then all of a sudden, and then after those got posted, all of a sudden his party's votes suddenly started jumping up because more people started running out to vote in the election. Although on the flip side of that, before he called the election, he thought he was going to win this in a walk anyway. Mm-hmm. So it is kind of weird.
For lack of pun, something doesn't seem kosher.
Boo.
All right.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just that whole thing, the way the polls were looking beforehand and the way, or even during. Because I think early on when they were saying, it was about a 50-something% turnout, and they were saying it looked neck and neck. Then all of a sudden, his party just went and jumped up in the tallies. So something happened.
It's not kosher. I was flying during it.
Something smells treif.
Why are things funnier when you say it like Arnold?
Because you say it like Arnold. It's not a tumor.
Maybe it's a tumor.
All right. Moving on.
Dig it up.
I guess now we go to the fun stuff.
Yep. So, cue fun part music. Is that hamster dance?
Yeah, kind of is. Okay, so what's your fun stuff? Well, I can jump ahead to... Actually, I'll do this. I'm going to near the bottom of your list, but the Jeopardy, for lack of a better term, debacle. For those who don't watch, I mean, I'm sure everybody knows more or less the format of Jeopardy, but one thing that I think people forget or don't realize is that if you finish the first two rounds and you have a negative amount of money, then you're out. Your game's over. You don't play Final Jeopardy. So they had a game probably about a week or so ago where only one contestant made it to Final Jeopardy. The other two had negative amounts.
They said this was the first time in 40 years this has ever happened.
Which is incredible.
I wonder if they actually made her play Final Jeopardy.
I don't know. And what's the point? She basically just has to bet zero.
Actually, I would bet everything but $1.
Yeah, but what you have left over at the end of the game is what you take home. So it's
she didn't even have that much. She only had like 8,500.
Yeah, in that game. I guess the categories for that one were particularly hard, but she did win a number of games after that. I think she ended up.
She's no Ken
because
Jennings.
she just lost last night, that contestant, and I think she ended up walking away with somewhere between $80,000 and $90,000.
Sucker. I used to watch it all the time with my parents. I really haven't watched it much because usually I don't get home in time anymore.
Oh, no! I started watching it. I don't know, like a year and a half ago. Again,
I used to be pretty good, but I find the Double Jeopardy rounds gotten a lot harder.
Double Jeopardy is hard. There's usually like one or two categories, even in Double Jeopardy, that I can get, but the others are really hard. Final Jeopardy is sometimes really difficult, but there have been a number of them that I've gotten. My wife keeps telling me she thinks I should be on Jeopardy. I don't know if I do that well, but
it's better than Wheel of Fortune. It'll be like the C blank T and the H blank T, and people can't solve the puzzle. I think buying a vowel is the dumbest thing you can do.
Yes and no. It's not that bad because it can help you figure out.
I think
what
people
the puzzle
use it
is.
inappropriately is a better way to put it.
I would say people do use it inappropriately. I think a lot of people use it probably earlier in the game than they should.
Yeah,
but
I'd like to buy a vowel, an A. There's 7 A's.
No, but you know what? That's kind of a smart move because basically for $250 out of whatever you had, you just got 7 more letters on the board. Problem is, it may end up just helping the next guy figure out what the puzzle is.
A lot of times I feel the buying the vowel just... You could pretty much guess the vowel. There's 5 letters you could put into spots, you know?
Yeah, for the most part. But it can be helpful in figuring out what the puzzle actually is.
Well, that was like the only... That was when The Price is Right, or like the only game shows on these days, right?
Yeah, well, those two are the primetime game shows. The Price is Right is still.
I remember
in
when
the
I
middle
used to
of the
stay
day.
home from school, it'd be like all game shows, daytime game shows.
I don't know what's on during the day anymore, but I remember when if you were home from school, like Price is Right was on at, what was it, like 11 o'clock every
like
day?
Classic Concentration with Alex Trebek.
Oh, God. Concentration, Press Your Luck.
No whammies, big money. Stop!
No, Big Bucks.
That was big money.
Big Bucks. The space on it was called Big Bucks. Good job. Scott almost knocked over his microphone.
Almost doesn't count.
Almost counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, my friend.
How does it count in horseshoes? If you get close to it, you win?
I have no idea, but damn it, that's the phrase.
Someone please explain this phrase to us. Email us at citizenhopod@gmail.com or tweet us at citizenhopod. Or find us on Facebook, facebook.com/citizenho.
That's one way to promote social media and email. Why the hell not?
We'll combine them into one thing, social memail.
No. I don't think anybody's buying that one.
Mm-hmm. So in other media news, they were doing an interview with a fellow podcaster and film director, Mr. Kevin Patrick Smith.
His middle name's Patrick?
I think so.
You think so? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Let's look it up.
Really?
I'm almost positive.
Now we have to look this up? You can save this for later, you know.
I'm looking it up. Our audience deserves to know. They don't have the internet.
Oh yeah, nobody has the internet. Everybody walks around with a computer in their pocket.
Wow, his Wikipedia picture is awful.
Yeah, I've seen that. Anyway.
Kevin Patrick Smith, born August 2nd.
Okay, wonderful.
But if you're listening to Mr. Smith, update your Wikipedia picture. You look like Jabba.
I don't know if he can update his Wikipedia picture.
Okay, well, email Larry Wikipedia and tell him to give you a new picture.
Larry Wikipedia?
I just made up the guy's name.
Yes, you did, and you did a piss poor job of it.
Sorry, Bill Wikipedia.
Just get past this.
So in an interview, they asked him, I thought you were retiring. He's like, I was. He made a movie, Tusk. Now he has one coming out called Yoga Hosers. After Yoga Hosers, they're going right into Clerks 3.
I can't believe they're making a Clerks 3.
Then he's doing the miniseries Hit Somebody. Then he's making a movie called Moose Jaws, which is basically Jaws with a moose.
Good God, this is like the next 10 years for him.
It's like the next 3 years.
Really?
And then I smell a rat. Which made people lead to believe he's making a sequel to his seminal film Mallrats.
Seminal film?
don't know.
Actually, I saw some.
And he confirmed that he's making Mallrats too.
I saw some Q&A where he said, "Yeah, a lot of people tell me that Mallrats is the first of my movies that they watch. They think of it like a gateway drug."
The thing I'd say about Mallrats, which may be true, is it came on the heels of a lot of like maybe the 90210 craze because Shannon Doherty was in it.
Yeah, but Mallrats did
it
terrible
bombed
in
at the
theaters.
box. Had a great. It's done amazing in DVD and on demand.
Yeah, that's how it got popular on video.
It's a cult classic.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that people would watch, like when you're at that age when you're not old enough to drive and go out by yourself, really, but you're old enough to be able to stay up late and watch movies or Saturday Night Live. Like that was the thing. Like somebody would take you out to go rent a movie. You might rent Mallrats, or you would catch it on TV, and that's how you got introduced to a lot of it. Mallrats was the first Kevin Smith movie I watched.
I think Dogma was the first one I saw.
Oh God. Mallrats was a much better gateway into Kevin Smith. I will give you that.
I like Dogma.
Dogma's not a bad movie, but Mallrats is better.
The one thing he said is the producer on Mallrats was Jim Jacks.
Yes, who died recently.
And he said, like, Jim Jacks always said he wanted to make Mallrats 2, Die Hard at a Mall. So and to honor Jim Jacks, he said this on his Hollywood Babylon podcast. Kevin Smith said it, not Jim Jacks. He's dead. Kevin Smith said on his podcast, to honor Jim Jacks, he wished he could have done it when he was alive. He's making Mallrats 2.
Okay, that'll be interesting. Who's he going to actually get to do it? I'd imagine Jason Lee would probably do it.
I don't know if apparently him and Affleck haven't spoken in like a really long time.
Affleck had a really small part in Mallrats anyway, so...
Yeah, he just wanted to screw somebody in a very uncomfortable place.
Like the back of a Volkswagen?
But
Shannon Doherty, maybe. I don't know if she'd do it or
Does
not.
she have a career right now?
Not really. Not that I know of.
Jason Mewes, I think, will do it.
Yeah.
What about Joey Lauren Adams?
I don't know if
she came back. Both of them, her and Doherty, did come back for Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Don't forget, it was 10 years ago, 14 years.
Doherty
ago.
came back for that.
Yeah, remember the Scream scene?
I saw that in the theaters, and I wasn't a big fan of that one.
Yeah, but remember the scene where they're running through Scream, and it's the monkey in the Scream costume, and she's the main actress in it.
Yeah, vaguely.
Mm. And Joey Lauren Adams and Renee Humphrey were back at the end of it, playing themselves.
Yeah. Well, Joey Lauren Adams. I know they were dating, but I think they became friends afterwards after they broke up. So that I'm not all that surprised about.
Who else is it? What about
Jason London?
Claire Forlani?
Claire Forlani. I don't know if she does anything today. It's a matter of whether or not she would want to do it.
She's British.
She would actually. I mean, she had a big enough role in it that it would make sense to have her in it.
Yeah.
Her, Jason London, and Jason Lee.
Were the 3 stars, and Shannon Doherty were the 4 stars of the movie, pretty much.
Yeah, and Jay and Silent Bob. I just wonder what it would actually be about. It just seems weird. And also, I mean, at the time, Kevin Smith identified with that, with the 20-something crowd, because that's basically
the Generation
what he was.
Xers, yeah.
Yeah. But except now they're all, in their 40s.
Now they're baby boomers.
No, they're not baby boomers. Baby boomers are getting into their 60s now and 70s.
I'm so curious how Clerks 3 is going to work. I actually thought Clerks 2 was pretty good.
Clerks 2 was okay. Clerks 3, I wonder about. I remember when I saw Clerks 2, and I said, it wasn't a bad movie. I didn't think it was as good as the original, but it was okay.
The thing one of the scenes that I really liked at Clerks 2 is they've done this in a bunch of movies where they have a scene that's taking place off screen, and you see the people's reactions to it. Obviously they weren't going to show the scene. It was the Donkey Show.
Okay, yeah.
They weren't going to show that screen, but you saw Rosario Dawson and Brian O'Halloran watching it. And the look on their faces was priceless. It was like the scene in the Muppets where where Gonzo blows up the building, and they don't show the building blowing up; they show the reaction.
Yeah.
Sometimes it actually works better than showing the actual scene. I feel.
Yeah, sometimes it's also cheaper.
It's also cheaper. Thank you, Gonzo. Or was that Fozzie who said that?
I think it may have been Fozzie. No, wait, it was Gonzo.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I just think I think it's in a good artistic direction.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing, Clerks 3 is going to, similar to Mallrats 2, is that it's, they're just at totally different places in their lives, so
that's what he actually did pretty good in Clerks 2 by making Dante, well, at least Dante in a different place in his life. Randall was pretty much the same person.
More or less.
Randall had growth at the end, though.
Sure.
So, We love you,
What
Kevin
else?
Smith. Please take our podcast and put it on the Smodcast network.
Maybe one day.
That will help us get sponsors, which I think it's about that time.
Oh,
So.
no, we already have a sponsor. You can go to www.audibletrial.com/citizenho and you can sign up for a free 30-day trial account and get a free audiobook download. Thousands of titles to choose from. Get yours today.
Yes. Speaking of Kevin Smith, he actually tell you the name of his book you can listen to on Audible.
Sure, bring it.
I think it's called Bullshit.
That wouldn't surprise me one damn bit. I have not seen this book, though. Although I kind of remember seeing a book when we went to the Secret Stash, and I just don't remember what it was called. I thought it was a comic book, though.
Well, he's written a bunch of comic books. Tough Shit is the name of his book. Sorry.
That also makes plenty of sense for him.
Actually,
Considering he always says that he
I may
curses
sign
like
up
a
Audible to
sailor.
listen to it. He narrated the audiobook himself.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
I
we
kind of wonder
recommend.
what he's actually telling the story.
I haven't
of
read or listened to the book yet, but I would recommend listening to it. Anything that guy says is hilarious. We saw him live. What was that?
that was like December, wasn't it?
No, I think it was earlier than that. It was
November?
comic book. It was Comic-Con.
Oh,
Near
Comic-Con.
Comic-Con.
Oh, that's right.
So that's in like October, I think.
Yeah, maybe. Good Lord, that was a while ago.
He did. Him and Jason Mewes came to New York. We got to see them. It's one of the funniest things I've seen in my life.
It's kind of interesting how so many people consider him their inspiration now. It was like half motivational speech.
Yeah, that's true.
You can do anything you want with your life. So all right. And the last thing on our list.
More college fuck-ups.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what college is about, isn't it?
College is about fucking up. That's how every deed should start their
Yeah, college is
orientation.
you come here so you can fuck up and know what not to do later.
So,
Although these guys fucked up pretty bad.
well, I'm going to tell the cons. My alma mater, the wonderful Penn State University, is in the news again for not so good stuff. One of the fraternities, I think it was Kappa Rho Succa or something like that.
Kappa Delta Rho, I think.
Yeah,
that's what it
KDR.
was. Yeah.
Excuse me. Apparently posted inappropriate pictures of females to a private Facebook page.
They posted photos of passed out naked chicks.
Granted, it's horrible. Yeah, it shouldn't be done, but fraternities have been doing shit like this for years. That they're making a big deal out of it because of what happened in Penn State and before. I do feel, yes, the fraternity should be suspended. Yes, this should happen, but I think the news is taking it to a step it didn't need to go to.
Have they? I mean, have they been tying it back to the whole?
Yeah, it's been every
to the whole
article says
Sandusky thing?
every article brings it back to the Sandusky thing.
I mean, the two are definitely not related.
This is just stupid kids, and you know what? Yeah, they did it wrong, and the university, as soon as they found out, acted swiftly.
Yeah,
If anything, it's a
they kicked the frat off campus.
Yeah.
They closed the house, and
The frat's suspended pending a hearing right now.
I thought they were kicked off. I thought the house was closed and they were kicked off campus.
They're suspended. They have to follow procedure. They're
Okay.
going to be kicked off permanently, but they're currently suspended.
Okay, fine. Whatever. Most frats that get kicked off, they end up coming back in 10 years anyway.
Yeah, with a whole new bunch of guys.
Yeah, basically. That happened to that. I mean, before I got there, there was at least one or two frats that had been kicked off campus that had just restarted their houses. I think around my freshman or sophomore
Yeah,
year.
I didn't feel the need to go Greek. I didn't have to pay to make friends.
I did. I mean, I went and I did.
Jeez.
I
Your
rushed.
wife was in a sorority and she can hear me. Sorry, Melissa.
I went into. Oh, okay, no, I shouldn't say I rushed, but I did go to like look at all the frat houses at the beginning of Rush Week, and yeah, it wasn't my thing. I wasn't interested.
Yeah, plus they had shitty beer. Speaking of beer,
I think the frat brothers get good beer.
We have to bottle our
They
beer.
just give everybody else shitty beer. Yes, everybody. Scott is making beer at home
It's a Pilsner.
through one of those Mr. Beer kits.
We're
So at
calling
some
it-
point he'll let us know how it is.
We're going to call it Ho Brew. Hey, she found it funny.
Yeah, and
You say if you can make one person laugh, the joke was good.
that depends who that person is, I think.
As long as it's not yourself.
Or your mother. Or your wife. Or
Speaking of my mother, so I've told you all how we hooked up a sling box in our house so my mom could watch TV.
Oh, God, what has she done with that now?
So last night, I'm doing some stuff on my computer, and I have the sling box on. This is about 11:05. All of a sudden, the channel starts changing. So I didn't realize what happened. I changed it back. Then it happened again. I look at the time and I realize my dad's probably sleeping, so I'm not calling the house. So I did the sensible thing I could. I unplugged the fucking thing.
Yeah. Did your mother call you 5 minutes later?
Yes. She was not happy.
Of course she did.
Apparently my dad said she's not talking to me right now.
Because you unplugged the sling box on her?
I'm sorry if I'm...
I believe you did establish the ground rules about
Thank
that
you.
with her from the start.
Thank you.
Is that if you were watching TV, then she was beat.
My attorney has spoken.
I don't know if I want to go back to her as your attorney on this one. Your mother yells a lot. She's loud.
We'll lose. All right. So is it about that time?
I think it is about that time.
Time for We Don't Know Shit About Movies. We got a one submission for audio. It was a little unclear, not that great. If we get enough requests, we'll play it for you. But if you guys want to send us a audio clip that we could use to introduce this segment each week, please email us, citizenhopepod@gmail.com. That's not something you could tweet or Facebook.
Or just, send us, let us know where we can download it, post it somewhere. We don't care.
Or you can put a CD in the mail and send it to P.O. Box. No, I'm just kidding.
No. We're not giving out mailing addresses here. Thank you.
Okay.
Alrighty. So, movies coming out this week.
Dun dun dun.
So at the top of my list, I have the Divergent series, Insurgent.
Yay, we're on the same page this time.
We think. We
That's
have
what
to
I
go through
have.
the rest. But anyway, starring Kate Winslet, Naomi Watts, Mekhi Phifer, and Shailene Woodley. So we have...
I love how the main actress gets fourth billing here.
The Divergent series, Insurgent, raises the stakes for Triss as she searches for allies and answers in the ruins of a futuristic Chicago. Triss, Woodley, and James, are now fugitives on the run, hunted by Janine Winslet, the leader of the power-hungry erudite elite. Racing against time, they must find out what Triss's family sacrificed their lives to protect, and why the erudite leaders will do anything to stop them. Haunted by her past choices, but desperate to protect the ones she loves, Triss, with at her side, faces one impossible challenge after another as they unlock the truth about the past and ultimately the future of their world.
I saw the first one when it was on HBO, and I actually didn't think it was bad.
Okay.
Did you see it?
I've seen parts of it. I haven't seen all of it.
I mean, it's a little... What's the word I'm looking for? Like, I haven't read the books or anything. It's more like, it's kind of like on the Hunger Games type of young adult novels.
That's kind of what I've sort of gathered from what I've seen of it.
So, I don't know. I think I'm going to go fresh.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to be very fresh, but I think it's going to be... I don't think it's going to be...
No, I think it'll be fresh. Yeah, I would agree that it may not necessarily be very fresh, but it is part 2 of the series, which lately the part 2s have actually been pretty good.
I like Catching Fire better than the Hunger Games.
Yeah. Yeah, so did I.
All right, I'll read this one.
All right.
The Gunman.
Okay, that's what I got on second also.
Starring Idris Elba, Sean Penn, Ray Winstone, and Javier Bardem.
Ooh.
In The Gunman, Sean Penn stars as a former Special Forces soldier and military contractor suffering from PTSD. He tries to reconnect with his longtime love, but first must go on the run from London to Barcelona and across Europe to clear his name.
Aww.
Based on the actors alone, this sounds good.
Yeah, that's it. Sean Penn doesn't really do bad movies.
Mm-hmm. I mean, one of my favorite movies is Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah, so I gotta go. Yeah, I gotta go fresh on this.
I think you're winning right now, 3-2, right?
I believe I am.
Fucker.
All right, next up, Danny Collins.
What's the name of the movie? Oh, sorry.
No, it's Danny Collins.
I was looking
Starring Christopher Plummer, Jennifer Garner, Josh Peck, and Al Pacino. Inspired by a true story, Al Pacino stars as aging 1970s rocker Danny Collins, who can't give up his hard-living ways. But when his manager, Christopher Plummer, uncovers a 40-year-old undelivered letter written to him by John Lennon, he decides to change course and embarks on a heartfelt journey to rediscover his family, find true love, and begin a second act.
I like the actors, but that just sounds like a whole heaping pile of shit.
No, well, okay. I haven't read any reviews about it, but I did see Jennifer Garner was on
She's hot.
Fallon last night talking about it. I did see a brief clip of it.
What'd you think?
It seemed like it could be good.
I don't know. I
So-
think I'm going to go rotten.
All right, I'm going to differ from you and go fresh on this.
Okay. Oh, that was DC. Danny Collins. Do you believe in magic?
Hooah! So yeah, next we have Do You Believe?
Starring Sean Astin, Alexa Vega, Mira Sorvino, and Madison Pettis.
What's on your mind?
A different dozen souls, all moving in different directions, all longing for something more. As their lives unexpectedly intersect, they're about to discover there is power in the cross of Christ, even if they don't believe it yet. When a local pastor is shaken to the core by the visible faith of an old street corner preacher, he is reminded that true belief always requires action. His response ignites a faith-fueled journey that powerfully impacts everyone it touches in ways that only God could orchestrate. Rotten.
Sean Astin? Not Rudy? Rotten.
You know who Alexa Vega is?
No.
You ever see the Spy Kids movies? She was the
No.
chick. She was the little girl.
Okay. Next up, we have Growing Up and Other Lies, starring Amber Tamblyn, Adam Brody, Wyatt Cenac, and Danny Jacobs. After struggling for years as an artist in New York City, Jake is calling it quits and returning home to Ohio. On his last day in the city, he persuades his 3 oldest friends to help him retrace their greatest adventure together, a walk down the entire length of Manhattan. But their attempt to reclaim the glory of their early 20s doesn't go quite as planned. Over the course of the day, buried conflicts emerge as Jake becomes embroiled with his ex-girlfriend, and his friends dip into their own crises of manhood.
Okay, 20 years from now, the 4 of us are not doing the walk to Coney Island again.
No, we're not. Although at this point it only has to be like 12 years from now, or
No.
13 years.
Were we? It was right after she did her marathon. It was the year you got. It was right after your wedding.
Yeah,
So
that
that's
was
six-
almost 7 years ago.
Fuck, we're old.
Yeah,
It's time for you to get a new wife.
no. I'm going rotten on this one.
I want to go rotten, but I'm going to go rotten too. But part of me thinks it's going to be fresh. Ooh, I'm going to read this one because it looks like shit.
Go.
Oh, then I have to write first. I wrote faces.
People don't want to wait for you to write.
Tracers, starring Rafi Gavron, Taylor Lautner, Rodden, Marie Avgeropoulos,
Yeah, that's about right.
and Adam Rayner. After he crashes his bike into a super sexy stranger named Nikki, Marie A.
Avgeropoulos.
Cam Lautner is introduced to her crew, a team that uses Parker. What the hell is Parker?
Parkour. I don't know.
To pull off heists. Hoping to alleviate his deepening debt into a violent crime gang, Cam quickly joins the group. As the stakes get higher with more dangerous side ventures, the payouts get bigger. Cam must use every ounce of his skill to stay alive as the crew heists grow more daring with each job, and gang enforcers breathe relentlessly down his neck. That's got to be a whole heaping pile of shit.
Rotten. All right, so this week, once again, all comes down to one movie.
Now to Rotten
Dun dun
Tomatoes.
dun 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 dun.
Flickster.
Do 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 do.
We already
I
talked about
shouldn't
Jeopardy.
be humming that song.
Ooh,
All right.
we did not do good this week.
Oh Lord.
So,
Okay.
Insurgent.
Let me guess. Rotten.
Yup.
Okay.
Gunman.
Rotten.
Rodden. What was the next one? Danny something?
Oh yeah, Danny Collins.
Rodden. Barely, but Rodden.
Damn.
Woohoo!
Okay.
Do you believe? Ooh, Tracers. 14% Rodden.
Okay. Do you believe?
No review. Not enough reviews. I think this is on Netflix already.
That was fast.
It went straight to Netflix.
Good Lord.
No reviews. I'm going Rodden on that one. What was the next one?
Straight to Netflix? That's rotten.
Growing. What was the next one called? Growing something?
Growing up and other lies.
Wow.
What?
How many reviews? No, 9 reviews, all rotten, 0%.
Okay then. We both got that one right.
So I think that's all of them.
Yeah, it's Danny Collins is the difference maker.
We are back to tied.
Yeah, that seems
Scott
to be
3,
the...
Kevin 3. Let me do my victory dance.
No,
So
you tool.
So I think that's gonna put it up. Sorry, it's a little short episode, but we don't like going through every nurse story. We could talk for a little.
Oh,
more.
it's fine.
Also,
Stop.
make sure to go on iTunes or Stitcher and give us a good review. It helps us out. Target sponsors. Recommend us to your friends. Share us. Please.
Help us.
Do we seem desperate? Let us know if we sound desperate. Email us at citizennerdpod@gmail.com.
Yeah, sure.
But we appreciate everyone who listens. We'd like to hear back from you. We probably will make fun of you if we hear back from you, but we'd like to make fun of. We'd like to hear from you.
No, we won't make fun of well-written emails. We promise you that.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're gonna email us, buy a copy of the art. What's it called? The Elements of Style by Strunk and White.
Right.
All right. On that note, folks, enjoy your weekend, and we'll be back next Friday. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Yeah, I don't know. Holy end of podcast, Batman.